Hello everybody. So you probably saw the video I took where I did a burn test trying to use vegetable oil on 100% cotton yarn and also rubbing alcohol, and how it was a total epic fail. I'm pretty sure I near burned myself a couple times because it got very hot, but nothing really lit on fire, I would say. Not where I would consider it flames anyway. So I figured out what my problem was. I guess I didn't have my wick standing up, and then of course I realized, well, I'm gonna need something to do that. Kind of like those old oil lamps, which gave me fuel for thought. So I tried making a couple, and turns out they work fabulously. This one is a rubbing alcohol. This one is vegetable oil. Now, when I did my burn test initially, I used this alcohol. Turns out that 50% was my problem. I needed to use this instead. Higher alcohol content, I guess the better your flame. So, yeah, I guess you have to have a higher content because this had no flame whatsoever. This would not work. Took forever to try and maybe even get a spark out of, and it would not stay. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it, and I noticed a difference between the two methods, and this one has a nice pretty full canning jar top. So this is my oil one, so you can see that's oil, and this one, this lid, is my rubbing alcohol. It's much more thin, like liquid. This is a little more thick. Anyway, alrighty, so I thought might as well get started and show you guys what I was doing. So, first thing, you get your canning jar, get your top, take your lid off, find the center of your lid. Now I'm using a piece of wood because it's got a nice little hole in there, so if I puncture my nail through, it's going to go all the way through cleanly, and I won't have to be fighting it so much. Now let's see, where's my center? I'm going to mark it like that. Let's see if I like where that's sitting, and I think I do. Now find the piece where I'm not going to have to worry about, there it is. Not worry about trying to hammer a nail through wood, because that's not necessarily what I want. I just want to puncture the top. So I've got a hammer and I've got a nail. There you go. So I've got my hole in the center. Now, I guess you can use a bigger needle or a bigger nail. Needles, wow. But I don't have a bigger nail, so I'm using my leather tool. It widens up towards the base of it here. It's going to allow me to open that hole some more. Now I'm going to stick an eyelet. I don't know if you can see how tiny that is. I'm going to stick an eyelet down the middle of it. Now I'm going to have my post end sticking up through the top. Someone did a nice video, and I'm so thankful they did it. Very boring video, I might add. But they did kind of a demo where they took two different lanterns like this, and one didn't have like a guard on there for the wick, and the other one just had a, one had a guard, one was just a hole through the top. Now the one that had the hole through the top and they fed the wick through, after about, it was a 30-minute video, a really long video of watching two candles burn. However, I like watching candles burn, so I guess not too much of a difference. But about 15 minutes through the video, the one that did not have a guard, the flame started to burn across the whole top of the canning jar, which made the whole lid a flaming fireball. Not necessarily the safest idea, but the one that had the guard, like this one has a guard, you can see, the flame was contained and stayed put. But again, it took 15 minutes of burn time before that actually happened. So I don't know exactly what their fuel was or what was going on. If they were using rubbing alcohol or oil and it kind of leaked out over the top from the wick or what, I don't know. And so I'm just going to avoid that because I have enough learned by my own experiences issues. So that's not one I want to have. So I'll just learn that from others. So I need my hole in the cap to be wide enough to stick my eyelet through. And as you can tell, it's not anywhere near close. So I'm going to stick my little doodad through here. I'm just going to keep tapping away. Better pay attention so I don't break my glass. Hole-wise, will that fit in there? Nope, not yet. How about now? Nope, not quite. Gonna keep going. Gonna retest. And still not quite. Retest. Well, that's kind of nice and snug. I like that. Okay. So now I'm going to round the edges of my back because I don't know if you can tell, but those are kind of sharp. I'm going to flatten those down. That's still fairly sharp, so I'm going to work on it some more. Use an edge. That's a little better. I can tolerate that. So now I'm going to take my eyelet and thread it through backwards. So this is going to keep this from being real sharp. And we'll see if I didn't close that hole back up. Oh, I think I did. So I got to reopen that. Re-flatten that. Can I stick my eyelet through? Maybe? Nope, not yet. Okay, that'll work. Now I've got a smooth bottom right there, and I've got my little guard at the top. Now to keep that from popping back out the back, because that's not something I want, I'm going to find one of my smaller holes, because I want my tip to kind of, you know, slide down inside like that, but I'm going to have to open up my guard just a little bit, but just, I don't want my eyelet to pop out, so I have to widen my top, but I don't want it to slide down anywhere. So we'll check that. Still slides. And I'm pushing this lid nice and flat on the surface of my wood here, because I want to make sure that I end out with a really nice tight-fitting little doodad. Nope, that still slides. Check that. Get that. It's better, but not to where I'm all that comfortable with it, because I don't want my eyelet to slide out the back while my wick is burning, because then it's going to add a plain lid without a guard, and I don't want that. That's better. That's staying. If I push the top there, it's staying put. Good. So that's all I need to do with this. I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to make my wick. So I found I needed to, well, to keep my wick from sliding really easily through, I needed something that will kind of grip that. So whatever my wick end needs to be. It needs to be snug through there. So I found for this is actually Peaches and Cream crochet yarn. It's 100% cotton. So I'm just going to take it and cut it in 3 sections. Now I've already got 1 section cut. So 1 section. 2. 3. 4. Now to equal that about width, I'm going to fold this in half. So it's going to be basically a 6 string braid. I'm going to tie a little knot right there. And this is going to be my end that's going to stay in my jar. I'll pull that nice and snug. Now people, if you have kids, teach them how to braid. This is a major survival skill that everybody should learn how to do. So thankfully my mother taught me, and I'm so proud of that. She's been an awesome person in my life. So basically I'm going to take 2 sides for each one. I'm going to push these just slightly out of the way so maybe you can see my hands a little bit better. Now you can anchor your top. You can tape it to like a countertop or something like that. Put a nail through it into a wall or something, and teach your kids this. But some people find it's much easier to braid as long as their end is anchored, so that's another reason you can use that loop. Now it might be helpful for you. But this is how I was taught. So I'm going to keep all my strands nice and flat all the way through. So I'm going to go right over left, or I should say right over center, because you have your 3 pieces. Right over center, make sure everything's flat. Left over center. Recheck, make sure everything's flat. Right over center. Pull up towards that knot like that to make sure it's all nice and flat. Left over center. Right over center. Left over center. What's going to happen is as I'm tugging and pulling up towards that knot, I'm going to end out with a nice, really flat braid. I'm going to pull it a little bit tight up towards that knot. Left over center. Right over center. Left over center. Right over center. And if you lose your place, if you don't know which one to do next, your center strip, if it's like this, your center strip will be over the one that you've just used. So if you have a tail that's coming underneath like this, so basically if you have your middle strand coming over, you want one that's on the side that the middle strand is not flopping over. So if you can see that, I'm going to be on my left side. Now my left side is over the centerpiece. Can you see that? My left side is center. So now I need to use my right side. And my right side is over center. So now I have to go left. Now I gotta go right. Now if you flip it backwards, I know, mind blown, my centerpiece is behind. So to keep yourself from getting screwed up, if your centerpiece is behind, your project is probably flipped over backwards. So make sure you have your centerpiece being over something. It'll help keep you from getting lost so much. And so if you check, okay, that's my left side coming over. And since I brought my left side over already, I want to show you what happens if I got lost and tried to bring my left side over again. All I'm going to end out with is a twist, not a braid. So this is the back side, because you see my centerpiece is coming behind, so I want my centerpiece coming over. So here's the front. And my centerpiece is over the right, so I need to use my left. So left over center, right over center. Left over center, right over center. And you can teach your kids this. This is a good survival skill to know. And to keep my braid from getting too bunchy, we'll just pull it like that. It'll straighten out all those pieces and stitch it out, so it'll be nice and straight. Alright, so I have that done. I'm probably going to come back to this because chances are I will be making quite a few more of these because I like them. So I'm going to tie that so maybe my braid won't come undone. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Now I have a braid already pre-done, just like this. Gonna undo my knot. So that'll keep my strands from coming out, just like that. Now I'm going to use rubbing alcohol with this one. I'm making sure I'm using the right alcohol, not the wrong alcohol. Gonna fill this puppy up. Now I'm gonna soak it. And now I'm gonna twist the end because that's gonna make it easier trying to get all those 6 strands through that tiny little hole. So if I twist and pinch that real tight, cut some of those little wayward soles off and thread it through. Just like that. Okay, make sure I've got my braid coming up. There's my braid. And I got more wayward soles because I threaded the sucker. Put this on here, wipe the top off. My top all nice and smooth. And there you go. That's all there is to it with that. And I want to show you the burn test with this, because I did notice an interesting fact with this. The oil, you have to keep pulling the wick up. Ooh, that's really oily. It's been sitting in there for a day. But the oil will burn the wick down a lot. So after the wick burns completely out, you have no flame. So you have to keep pulling it up. But I noticed this one, the alcohol, will use more of the fuel of the alcohol instead of burning through the wick. So I'm going to light both these together so you can maybe see what I'm talking about. I'm going to turn off some lights. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut this so it looks all pretty full like the other one. Yes, people, pretty full is a word. Okay, so I'm going to light the alcohol first. There it goes. I'm going to light the oil, which is taking a little bit longer to burn, but it burns. Now if you watch and see the difference between the two, obviously this burns incredibly well, but the oil one will burn itself out. We're just going to sit here and watch it do its thing a second. Maybe you can already tell that this is dying out. I don't know. Maybe you can tell. I'm not sure. But this has a little bit of a blue flame. This just has a yellow-orange flame. But see, it's already burning through the wick, so it's already starting to put itself out. That's something to maybe think about when you're discussing fuels and stuff maybe that you'll burn or use in the future. So I kind of like the alcohol one better. I'm sure in a future video I will do an upgrade, because apparently they've got oil lamp type canning jar adapters. So you can turn your canning jar into an oil lamp that has a little dealie on it, so you can turn it and then the wick pops up, which is kind of cool. See that? It's just burning itself out. And this guy is still going. So I hope this helped you and maybe figure out what kind of stuff you want to do for your oil or alcohol-based lanterns. So this was fun to do, and yep, peace out, peoples. Have a good one, be safe, and remember, the best skills you have are the ones you've earned. It's smoky. Alrighty, have a good one. Bye.